Hello, G1s. Welcome. This is the long-awaited reboot of the G1 Features podcast. Some of you may remember that there was a podcast way back in June when E3 happened, and after that, complete radio silence. But we're back. We're actually back, guys. This is gonna be an actual thing. This isn't something that we're gonna abandon. And after I talked about it on the G1 in the G1 interviews, I can't really let it go now. Oh yeah, by the way, my name is Madhero 15. I'm the guy that runs G1 Features right now, and with me today is, as always, is my good friend Gear. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be back after about 2 weeks of scheduling issues trying to get this off the ground again.
Oh, even more than that, just because remember, like when we recorded it, and afterwards you went on vacation to Canada, and then I went to vacation to Canada, and then
Yes, the Great White
like
North.
we didn't, yeah, the Great White North, but we didn't come across each other because Canada is pretty freaking big.
Yeah,
And
you
then
just the one night you were in Vancouver while I was still there, you decided to be on the other side of the friggin' city.
yeah, Vancouver's pretty large. I learned that day, and then later on, like you were gone for way longer than I was expecting, and then school started again, and then everything was chaos and everything had to be worked out. But now it is finally here. Enough excuses. We're back. We're gonna make sure that this is a good show and that this is something that we're gonna continue. We're still trying to find sort of our niche, sort of like how we're gonna organize the show. But hopefully you'll enjoy it and we get to do something fun. So how have you been doing recently? Good.
Busy,
Yeah.
mostly. I'm in my second year now, finally, and it's interesting. I've got a lot to do, but it's fun. I'm reading a lot of interesting poems and books, and we're doing creative writing this year, which is very different.
Who cares about that stuff? No one is gonna hire you in the future, or at least I don't even. You're doing English, right? Or
Yes.
like poems, schmoems. Who cares about that? But enough about that. Anything? It's yeah. I know the feeling pretty much. That I'm in my fourth year now of doing international media and entertainment management, and it's yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. Especially, it's been a rough start for private reasons that I can't really go into. It's more of a fuck up of my own, and then things got kind of out of hand. But eventually, all is now good. And now there's a whole bunch of deadlines I have to do, all kinds of other stuff. But school stuff. Who cares about that stuff? It's all about video games or other stuff on this show. That's at least what we are going for. So, have you been doing anything recently? Like playing a game? Have you seen anything? Or
Yeah, I've been playing a couple games, mostly like on and off because I don't really have the time to do like long sit down sessions anymore. I've been playing most recently. I've been playing Fallout Shelter.
oh, Fallout Shelter, the iOS, the well, not just iOS, the mobile game.
Yeah,
What'd you
because
think of it?
it's all right. I mean, I I don't really like Fallout to begin with. I'll say that right now.
Sacrilege.
But I mean, I appreciate the fact that it has like a really sort of non-intrusive free-to-play model,
Yeah,
and
that
that
is the
it's
best thing about Fallout Shelter is that it's a great tool a great model for a free to play that they really thought of. Okay, they can pay what they want and without it seeming so intrusive.
yeah, and I also like that it doesn't like there's no competition. That it's just, it's a single player experience, which as far as free to play games go are pretty rare, especially like the sort of
Uh,
managerial kind.
I can see what you mean, but I have games like Crossy Road, which are single player and free to play and all that other stuff. So it's not as rare as you may think, but especially because free to play is becoming the model for mobile phone games because well, people pirate, and that's they gotta do something to get money.
Yeah. Another excellent mobile game I've been playing for a lot longer is Alpha Bear.
Yeah, I see you tweeting about it sometimes. I have it as well. That's a really fun game.
It is. I'm kind of bad at it though. I'm stuck on like World 3.
I haven't played in a while, so I'm not really sure where I am. But yeah, it's a fun little word game to just think of all kinds of words and see what you can spell. It's very much like Boggle, except you don't have to attach the words necessarily. The letters don't have to be attached necessarily. You just have to think of some really good words.
Yeah, I like to compare it like it's sort of a weird combination between Scrabble and Minesweeper.
That's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, it's got like the board revealing thing from Minesweeper and then the word scoring kind of dealy from Scrabble. But then it adds like an extra layer of interesting mechanically. Yeah. It adds like an extra layer of stuff with like choosing your different bears and getting bonuses.
Yeah, it's a lot deeper game than you may give it credit for in the beginning when you're first really playing it. But it is a really, yeah, it's a very deep, fun game to play, and that is, it's not something. It's something I generally get out when you're bored and you want something to do while you're on the bus or
Yeah.
whatever.
And they recently implemented an offline mode,
Oh,
which
that's
is
nice
nice.
because I love playing my.
It doesn't
Because
like you don't get like rewards or coins or something, but they have just like little offline things you can do.
yeah.
And not deep at all game that I've been playing quite recently is Infamous Second Son.
Oh yeah, you recently got that game. That is.
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
That's damning with faint praise, if
Yeah,
there ever was one.
I mean like there's I played Infamous First Light when it came to PS Plus.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that was, I sort of saw that as like, I'm interested enough in getting Second Son that I'd like consider buying it now. Because I mean, I never really like I never had a PS3, so I never played the other Infamous games.
I got a PS3 like literally a half an hour ago, so I'm still waiting to get play on the Infamous series as well. But I have played Second Son.
Yeah, and Second Son is like it's different from First Light. Like you have the neon power in both of them, but the neon power works very differently in First Light than it does in Second Son. And it's like it Second Son just sort of reeks of launch title, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the thing with the graffiti where you have to hold the PS4
Yeah,
controller
that is
like a
so
spray can.
goofy.
It is so it is so dumb and so silly, but it's also kind of endearing in a weird kind of way. You
Yeah,
sort of like, "Aw, that's kind of." You don't see that anywhere else,
cute.
and it really, like, I agree. It's very much like a launch title game where you go, "We have to use everything on this controller, all the new features, and go do this and that." That's
Yeah, and they have you sweeping on the touchpad to open doors and stuff, and that's just so unnecessary.
yeah, I absolutely know what you mean. But
And
yeah, go on. Sorry.
and Delson as a character, I know a lot of people didn't like him because he's just kind of a dick. And I mean, I can understand that, but I'm not sure I like vehemently dislike him because it's they're kind of doing the Chronicle thing, I think. Where he just got superpowers. Of course, he's gonna fuck around with them. He's what in his early 20s at most,
Yeah, he's like 25, I believe, or something like that.
and they established that he's got like a rebellious streak and that he's oh down with the man, which in this world, fair enough, makes sense. Can't argue with that. But he's sort of like I don't want to say pretentious, but he's a little smug about it.
Oh yeah, he is super smug.
And so, like, I don't know, I understand his characterization and I actually kind of like it, even though he's not like he he's not a sympathetic character per se, but I do think he's a good character, if
I
that makes
can't
sense.
really stand him, and that's just for some of in that, like you say, like he's that down with the man type of character, that rebellious kind of character. But he's very much a market, like a boardrooms version of that, like very much something that was designed by a lot older people than
Yeah. The
some.
especially the graffiti. It's very like what's hip with the kids nowadays, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like it's not a particularly. I don't find him particularly interesting as a character. Like, they're never really explored ever, really. And you could have done something with that, I believe. And then for the rest, yeah, I'm not sure how far are you right now.
Hard to say. I mean, I think I'm about halfway done. I just got the video power not long ago,
Oh yeah, that thing.
which is honestly, it's not very good, but it's definitely the coolest.
Yeah, that the boss fight for it was pretty neat, and that's
What, the angel?
yeah,
Oh, I hated that boss fight, honestly.
it's not a great boss fight, but it was sort of
It was so
like it had a
annoying.
very '90s feel with like don't fall into the lava and
Yeah, but it really sort of annoyed me that like I don't know, movement in that game feels sort of weird and sticky. And so what happened I think two or three times was like the platforms collapse when you hurt the boss enough.
yeah,
And so I'm trying to like and so I don't get off the platform on time and I fall in the lava. And then I'm trying to like hang on to the ledge, but he's not grabbing onto it, so I keep falling back into the lava. And so suddenly it does all of a sudden work even though I've done nothing differently.
yeah.
And it just feels a bit weird. And oftentimes, and I had a number of times where it just didn't work and I died in the lava, which didn't really feel like it was my own fault.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, it's been a while since I've played Second Son. I got it for cheap for like $20 used, and that felt right. Even though I played a lot of the game, I put a lot of hours into it, but it's still something I would describe as something like a 7 out of 10 type of game. And there's nothing wrong with that. 7 out of 10 is a good score. It's just that a lot of it just feels, especially in the recent days where we have so many open worlds and so many things vying our attention. It's just good, but not great. And I find the story painfully generic and just not particularly interesting. The characters aren't that. The characters especially are super stereotypical
Mm-hmm.
to the point where the nerd is called Eugene.
Yeah. Oh my god. Freaking Eugene.
It's just like really, and then just I don't know. It just didn't really grab me, and I'm not sure like how different Infamous One and Two are in that sense, like what they do different because I haven't played those games. And but I'm sure that Sucker Punch is right now working on the next Infamous and where that features Delson again, or whether that is gonna again have a whole new cast and whatnot. I'm definitely curious what they're gonna do. It piqued my interest, but it's not like it's not like I'm dying for the new Infamous game.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it. Like, are you still planning to continue with it, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm really like I said, I'm really busy right now, so I don't really have the time or energy to really get seriously invested in a deep and complex game. So it's like it's harmlessly not bad enough that I can just sort of absent-mindedly play it for a while.
Yeah,
And like the side missions are fun-ish enough, like I actually kind of like doing the graffiti. It's weird, but it's kind of fun. I like the hidden camera missions. I don't like the secret agent missions. There's
oh, the
audio
secret agent missions
logs.
are the worst.
There's audio logs because, of course, there's audio logs. Um, and yeah, I like just sort of. I'm sort of contradicting myself here, but I like just moving around the city, especially now that I have the video power and I can do like the boost thing with the wings.
Yeah,
Like the smoke power is by far the least useful for movement. Honestly,
sure.
the smoke power is like the least useful overall,
Yeah.
I'd say. Like I use neon for combat mostly because I'm doing like a good run, basic
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you what kind of run you were doing.
good karma run. I'm
Yeah.
already like Paragon or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm full blown hero now.
Okay.
One thing that amuses me though about Second Son is you've got these protesters all over the city, right?
Yeah.
And some of the things they say feel like they could have used more work, like in the writing department.
Such as.
See a dealer, be a squealer.
Sucker
uh,
punch higher, better riders.
and oh, one of them was superpowers will be the death of us all or something. Just like A, that's not a chant. It sounds lame. B, why are you using the word superpowers? Superpowers are awesome. Call them like um I don't know,
Mutants like X-Men.
mutations or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like I don't know, I want superpowers. I don't necessarily want mutations because
Yeah.
that could be like ooh weird tentacle arm. But superpowers, dude, I can like fly and shoot smoke out my hands.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And moving on to a game that isn't 1.5 years old,
Yeah.
I believe. I've been playing mostly since it came out. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 pretty much.
Yes, as we all heard on the G1 interviews. At least
Yeah.
as I'm assuming everyone heard, hint hint.
Yeah. That was an awesome interview to do. That was really like we were scrambling for a guest because let's see, we were planning to interview Freak Zone Games, but he's very busy working on AVGN Adventures 2 right now. And then also we were gonna interview Steve Gregson from who people best know from Safety First, but who's currently doing VG Batsu on G1 features. But
Occasionally.
he was what's sorry?
Occasionally.
Occasionally, he's been doing more content right now, but yeah, he was busy as well. So eventually, he's like, you know what? I'll go and be interviewed. And then it was an incredibly long time to get it out. G1 interviews has a lot of has had a lot of issues since its rebirth with Tommy Iron Man, and that's not necessarily his fault. It's just kind of all kinds of weird technical shit that just happens and all kinds of weird stuff. But in the end, because in the time that we talked about Phantom Pain, I beat it during the part where we talked and when it came out.
Ah.
But yeah, and the next interview is ready, hopefully for next week. So don't worry about that. But anyway, we're currently I finished Metal Gear Solid 5. Phenomenal game. Too bad it's not done.
Yeah, I don't have it because I didn't like Ground Zeroes that much.
Really? What didn't you like
Yeah,
about Ground Zeroes?
I don't know. I mean, I really liked Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, three's the best.
But I don't know. I couldn't get into like I didn't play Peace Walker, so I didn't really know what was going on.
What you can do, yeah, you can read the 10-page like description of, oh, this is what happened.
And I could never like
Because I don't think most people play Peace Walker before Ground Zeroes, or at least
yeah.
I think that's mostly. Then it's just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
But
and I'm just generally not really that good at stealth games anyway, and it had a really weird control scheme that I couldn't get into.
at first, I couldn't get into that either until when I played Ground Zeroes. But when I played Phantom Pain, it felt a lot more natural.
Yeah, and I mean, I might pick up Phantom Pain at some point, but it's not like high on the priority list right now.
I get what you mean in sort of that, especially if you're not really. I mean, you've played three, and then you can play, for example, Peace Walker to really, if you want to. But in that sense, you don't really think, okay, I should really get into this Metal Gear story, and then, or is it not even that? Is it just don't really? Is it maybe the Konami thing as well, or?
Well, I mean, the Konami thing hasn't stopped me from buying Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist.
Oh God, that's
Um, but it's just, you know, there's a lot of backstory that I'm missing out on, and there's like, I kind of feel like I have to play the series like all the way through to quote unquote get it. And so I'd have to start with three, then go to Peace Walker, and I think isn't Portable Ops between Peace Walk after Peace Walker?
Portable Ops is between 3 and Peace Walker, but Portable Ops is, I think, considered non-canon.
Oh, okay. And then I'd have to play Ground Zeroes, and then I'd have to play Phantom Pain, and then I'd have to go all the way back and play number one, which I do actually own. I have
Okay.
number one for PS1.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. It has aged surprisingly well. I mean, it's still a game from 1998, and you have to think about it like that. But it's a game that has aged surprisingly well, and also the remake, which I think is underrated, the GameCube remake.
The Twin Snakes, was that?
Yeah, that's Twin Snakes.
Yeah, I'm told that's the best version of it, honestly.
Yeah, it is a great version. Yeah, it's just people hold a lot of nostalgia for the original Metal Gear Solid. It's considered one of, if not the best PS1 game of all time, and that's when you look at the library of the PS1, a pretty high. That's a pretty nice list to be number one on.
Yeah. And I also have number two, actually, I just realized.
I The only one I don't own is four, and I
Yeah,
can own that
same.
one now. So
But I
yeah,
heard
that
most people weren't that big fans of four.
four is very, very story heavy. Four is very much if you accepted the nonsense that was going on in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, but like there's just a lot getting in my way of really like feeling like I can enjoy Phantom Pain properly.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I might pick it up just because I'm told just mechanically it's very just fun to play.
Oh, mechanically, it's excellent. Want to go stealth? Yeah, you can go stealth. But if you want to go, Rambo and just kill everything, the game doesn't punish you for it. It allows you to play exactly how you want, and that is a great. That is very, very hard to do and very fun.
Yeah, but like you said, it would be better if it was, finished.
Yeah, it's weird. The game was announced like late 2012 at like the VGAs when remember when those were a thing? When like it was announced as just the Phantom Pain, it was Moby Dick Studios, there was this big mystery behind it. And we just let it be that mystery, just like, oh, how cute. And then when it got revealed, it was Metal Gear Solid 5. And then you just sort of. This game was announced in late 2012, came out in September 2013, 2015, and feels unfinished. That's kind of puts in perspective just how much time goes into, especially AAA game development.
Yeah, and you have to consider that. And I know like a lot of the stuff was allegations, but Konami sounds like they didn't exactly make it easy on Kojima, you know?
No, not at all. But we don't know the truth right now, so it's a bit hard to really. It does sound like it suffered from budget because again, also there was the Chapter 3, which we were supposed to get, and that never really. And that's we just got a Blu-ray disc, which sort of said, "Oh, and this is what was gonna happen." And if you've played Phantom Pain, that's a very important plot point that's addressing, and that just kind of gets dropped in Phantom Pain. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I won't really go into spoilers because people are still playing it, still enjoying it.
I know some people didn't really like the ending.
It's ending. It's a weird ending. I can't really go into it.
Like I know what happens, but like you said, other people are still playing it.
Yeah, and it's just sort of. It's an interesting plot twist, especially sort of. Okay, it's and when you play the game again, it's sort of like, oh yeah, it's kind of obvious at that point, sort of. And I think a lot of people had already sort of figured it out. But it's pretty interesting, sort of what he's done there. I find it interesting. It doesn't ruin the game for me one bit, but if it's a cop out, it's hard to say. But I do still have like obvious like the ending is not like the ending part of the game itself. The actual ending is fine in my opinion, but the actual ending just feels a bit unfinished, not done. Yeah, that's the part. Like a lot of the missions, which were at once very variable, are just becoming harder versions of older missions you've played, and I mean
Uh,
really harder versions. So I'm kind of baffled, especially that a lot of like IGN and GameSpot, two companies that for every we give them a lot of shit for a lot of stuff, but they are rare with their 10 out of 10s, and they gave Fan of Pain 10 out of 10s, and
Based
which
on the review event, eh?
yeah, Yeah, I guess in that sense, but even still, I found it baffling that that's because Phantom Pain. It's a great game. It's probably my game of the year, but it's I don't know. There's just parts that frustrate me about it, and I think like it's a 9 out of me, an 8.5. Like it's a very generous 9 for me, and it's a great game. Like when it's at its best, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the best Metal Gear games ever made. But at its worst, it is like it is very flawed, and it's not. I don't know. I just think that some like maybe we got caught in the hype, and yeah, maybe it's the review boot camps that took place, which are complete bullshit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great game, but yeah, not worth 10 out of 10s that we celebrate, and certainly not the 16th best game of all time, Edge. And and I know we already discussed that a bit, but you know, let's not go. And for the rest, I've downloaded Undertale and ready to start that and see what the big deal is, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm curious about Undertale, and it's I mean it's on my wish list. I haven't bought it yet. But I want to play it. I want to play it a lot because I've heard people compare it to Earthbound.
Yeah, it's like if you look at the trailer just already, you can the Earthbound is all over it pretty much. You can sort of see, oh yeah, he took so much inspiration from Earthbound because it's a one man team that pretty much made the whole game, and I'm just curious about like what the other inspirations are because it can't be just Earthbound, but like everyone who's like talking about it, like who's reviewed it, loves it. Like right now, it's obviously going to change when more outlets are going to pop up. It's the highest rated PC game on Metacritic, and that is beating Bioshock, Half Life 2, Left 4 Dead, a whole bunch of other like these masterpieces of games. And then this game beats them with a lot less reviews. And it's just like, huh, okay, let's see what you've got, Undertale. I'm curious about you now.
Yeah, it's. I mean, from what little I know of it, it looks really cool. I like the idea that you basically don't actually have to fight anyone.
Yeah, I know it's like it's a very pacifist game, but you already see like the backlash coming in of like, it's people just like it because it's different, it's indie.
See, stuff like that's always going to have a backlash,
Yeah,
and like you see that as well with the beginner's guide that
yeah,
came
the
out
beginner's guide as well. That
like what, two
I
days
know
ago.
nothing about other than it's made by the Stanley Parable guy. I'm just like done, bought, and now I'm just curious. That's gonna be something I'm checking out as well. Somewhere down the line to see what the big deal is as well. I know nothing in terms of like what exactly it is, but that's also very exciting. That's not something you'd very much do with games. Very like often with games, especially me, like someone who really just checks, okay, am I going to buy this or not? Really checks a lot of reviews, checks a lot of like, okay, what are people saying about it, and can I expect? But with Beginner's Guide, I haven't done any of that. I just knew it was made from the guy that made Stanley Parable, and that a lot of people were really digging it. So yeah, that's why I bought
Here's the
Beginner's
thing
Guide. Yeah,
about the beginner's guide. Even reading a lot of reviews ain't gonna help you much.
no, exactly.
Because I've read like 3 or 4 reviews by this point, and they have all been like purposefully vague.
Yeah,
And that really kind of annoys me because I really kind of want to know what's like. I sort of understand this game, if you don't mind me talking about it at least.
oh no, not at all. Go ahead. Just
It's,
don't spoil stuff.
well, I
Like just
can't
like
really spoil much about it because I haven't played it either, but it's basically the Stanley Parable guy, and I'm kicking myself because I don't remember his name, but he's showing off mini prototypes of one of his acquaintances by the name of Coda, and it's sort of about Coda's frustration with his own craft, with his own art,
Hmm.
and sort of he's relating to Coda in that way, and apparently that's resonating with a lot of people,
Uh-huh.
which is cool to see. But I just wish I would could have more information about it, because I mean, I don't want to be that guy that says length is important, but it does go out of its way to tell you that it's like an hour and a half tops.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like something like you see people talking about it, like, oh, I buy this, and then when I'm done with it, like the 1.5 hours done, I refund it because the,
Yeah,
the
that's
minimum, because
kind
there's
of
the
mean.
minimum of 2 hours or the
And I mean,
maximum 2 hours.
I've had satisfying game experiences in less time than an hour and a half. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah,
But like a session of Alpha Bear only lasts like 10, 15 minutes at most, and after I'm done with that, I'm, satisfied. But I'm just wondering, like, and that sort of annoys me. But that's sort of a double edged sword, because, like, I feel like the best way to experience the beginner's tale is by
guide.
going in knowing as little as possible.
Yeah,
But I want to know more, and nobody's telling me anything, or at least
yeah,
none of the reviews I've read have really told me anything about it.
yeah. I can see the frustration in that, but you've played the Stanley Parable, right? Or
I did, yeah, I really like the Stanley Parable.
yeah, exactly, and that's why it's sort of like having a director that you really like a film director, like say Tarantino, and then you just saw Pulp Fiction and thought it was the best shit ever, and then you saw like, but you
It's
don't
not.
didn't know he made any more movies, and then you saw Kill Bill, for example, and just like by Quentin Tarantino, like, oh sweet, I'm gonna get that, and just
Yeah.
sort of like without really knowing anything about it, just knowing the guy who made it. That's how I felt pretty much. About I knew who made it. I knew I really really liked the game that he made. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be very simple stuff like that. It does help that the critics were raving about it, despite being delightfully vague.
Yeah. And I kind of had that with Soma as well. It's weird because I've heard really polarizing opinions on Soma.
Oh yeah, I've heard some interesting stuff as well about some. It's not really a game for me personally because I'm not just. I mean, horror just generally isn't my jam in terms of like I love some great horror games, but I'm not going out of my way to get other horror games, especially like it's like of all the genres out there, it's probably one I'll get the least, despite not necessarily, despite liking the genre.
And here's like one of the things a lot of people are saying that Soma is what BioShock wishes it was, at least thematically speaking, but then other people are like heavily criticizing it for A, not being very narratively interesting, and B, they've like toned down the mechanical interaction, and they've simplified sort of the monsters from Amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
And I played very little of Amnesia. I did try playing it, and like you, I'm really not into horror games, but I figured I'd see what the fuss was all about. And what makes Amnesia is so great is that, you're picking stuff up, you're interacting with the world, and you can hide in closets when the monsters get close. And a lot of that is apparently just not there anymore in Soma. Like the monsters don't really feel like they're following you because they're just always there, if that makes sense. Like in in Amnesia, the monsters sort of like felt like they could come around the corner at any moment because they were unpredictable. But in Soma, they're apparently a lot more predictable, which doesn't really work as well.
Maybe and I don't know because I haven't played either game. I played Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I played that, but I think that maybe because and I can't really go through the developer's head, but maybe because he wanted to be he wanted to be a bit different from Amnesia because Amnesia, since its debut, has been cloned a lot by all kinds of horror developers and
Poorly cloned, might I add.
poorly. Yeah, exactly, and just sort of like, this is so overplayed and done, and I just kind of want to do something else and want to experiment a bit more. And with the acclaim that I got from Amnesia: The Dark Descent, I can do that.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I don't know if that's actually like something I can agree with because in trying to, for lack of a better word, innovate, he's basically turned it into something that's closer to Everyone's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, like a walking simulator?
Yeah, and I really don't know how to feel about Everyone's Gone to the Rapture because I mean, I'll say this right now, I don't like the term walking simulator cuz it's useful as a descriptive term, but it has a lot of connotations that I don't personally agree with.
There's a negative tone to it,
Yeah,
but I
and I'd say stuff like Dear Esther and Everyone's Gone to the Rapture definitely qualifies for that. And a lot of other games get lumped into it, like Proteus, and I don't agree that Proteus qualifies as a walking simulator. Because, see, walking simulator, the connotation of that is interactive story. And even then, barely interactive. Basically, you're wandering around and having a story be told at you.
yeah,
And I don't agree that Gone Home qualifies for that because you're discovering the story as you're looking and examining things in the house. But Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, you just sort of following around like little dots of light and hearing snippets of a story. And like the difference between Gone Home and Everyone's Gone to the Rapture is that in Gone Home you felt like you were part of the story, whereas in Everyone's Gone to the Rapture you're listening to other people's. And that's just like at that point just write a book, you know?
yeah,
And Proteus is something that is a game that a lot of people are really sort of annoyed about because of its extremely limited mechanics. It's literally just moving around and jumping. But Proteus is something that can really only exist in a game because of its randomized environments feature, you know? It's it's sort of like a Zen game, which is a fairly new genre, but it's just it's the equivalent and basically the evocation of a stroll through nature and a different stroll through different nature every time, which is something you can really only do in a video game, whereas something like, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, a compilation of other people's stories. I mean, World War Z did that. It's not unheard of.
yeah. I get what you mean with that in sense of the walking simulator. I am mixed on sense of like everyone's gone to retro. I haven't played it, so I can't really judge what it does and what it does, or what it does and what it doesn't do. But it's just something the genre doesn't appeal to me. And like if it's a, I've heard people very much praise everybody's gone to the Rapture, but I just know that these type of games, like Stanley Parable is a walking simulator. You can't really, but it's a damn good one,
And
and
even then,
it's a damn funny one.
I don't even agree that I'd call it a walking
Yeah,
simulator
sorry.
because what makes the Stanley Parable so good is player choice. You're interacting with the narrator through the choices you make and like how you move through the game in every run. Whereas, I mean, you could argue that Everyone's Gone to the Rapture has player choice in the sense of which ball of light do you follow next. But the Stanley Parable, it's almost like a meta commentary on the nature of game design and authorial intent, which again is something that's, I mean, meta commentary isn't exactly something new. I mean, there's plenty of movies that are about movies. Seven
Yeah.
Psychopaths is one I watched recently.
Oh, Seven Psychopaths is so good.
Hmm.
I was so happy that that finally popped up on Netflix because I felt that's a very underrated movie.
I love that movie. And so, like the Stanley Parable, it does meta really well because there's a difference between meta and self-aware. Like
Yeah.
self-aware is like Far Cry Blood Dragon.
Oh God, you've drummed that. You've beat that drum so many times already.
Yeah, in the unaired episode.
No, but just in general, like
Yeah,
that
but
drum has
that
been. That
that's
drum is so.
that's self-aware, and meta is the Stanley Parable. It's about itself basically, and that's something that's really good about the Stanley Parable, and that's something that no other quote unquote walking simulators really do.
Yeah, it's just a genre that doesn't necessarily appeal to me. It doesn't help that it's a very like again like with everybody's gone to the Rapture. There's an air of pretentiousness about it, and I can't say this personally. I haven't played the game. I can't really because it doesn't appeal to me. What? So I'm not necessarily interested in the game, and then yeah, then why can I? What can I really say about it? And yeah, like I think a beginner's guide is like if that's a walking simulator and it's great, everyone is loving it, then so be it. Vanishing of
Yeah.
Ethan Carter is also considered a walking simulator for many people, and I love that game.
Do you? I never played it.
It's very good. Go check it out.
Yeah.
It's a nice little detective game, sort of in that. It's better than Murdered Soul Suspect, which were in which you were so tempted at.
Yeah, I never ended up playing that.
Good. Not that I'm. It's just.
It was a cool idea.
It was a cool idea
I'm a
when it was
sucker for
called
cool
Ghost Trick.
ideas.
It was a cool idea when it was called Ghost Trick.
Yeah, true.
But is there anything else that you want to discuss? Because we've gone through the whole walking simulator thing now, kind of because of the beginner's guide.
Um,
Anything you're excited for, maybe, or some news story that you want to discuss?
I'm really excited for Dragon Quest Heroes.
Oh God, yeah, that is the Dynasty Warriors one, right? Or
Yeah,
the
it's the Hyrule Warriors of Dragon Quest.
yeah. I never
And
I never knew you were such a big Dragon Quest fan, or
I haven't played very many of the games, but I played. Oh, I can't remember which one it was. I want to say 6
that's the
on
one on DS, right?
DS.
There's one on DS, yeah. But the Dragon Quest 6 came out. Like it came, like I'm not sure what the original game on was, but there was a remake on DS.
I feel like 6 was the one I played. It's the one where the main character has a purple turban. No, it's not 6. 6 is the one where the dude looks like Vegeta.
Okay. Oh, the original came out.
Dragon
Oh, never
Quest
mind.
5. 5 is the one I played on DS. Hand of the
Ah,
Heavenly
okay.
Bride. And I was super into that game. And then I got 8 on PS2. And I haven't really played that much, but I do still want to get back to it. I bought the Dragon Quest Monsters games on DS, and those were friggin' amazing.
Uh-huh.
Like they did a lot of stuff that people really wanted Pokemon to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got like a 3D environment and everything. It's great.
And then, did you play 9? Because that's the one I really played.
I couldn't get into 9 because it was so hard.
It was pretty difficult, but
And like I couldn't figure out how to get more party members.
so but
Like
yeah,
I never
and
got far enough into the game to hire party members, and I didn't have anyone to play it online with.
yeah, and I can assume that, like, especially with the with the DS network dead, that there isn't really
Yeah.
much to do with that anymore. But that's the one I really played a lot. And then for the rest, that's pretty much my only real Dragon Quest game that I've played. Except I have 8 lying as well, but I haven't really played much of it. And I think 8 is now coming to the 3DS as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a remake. It's out in Japan already, but I don't think there's anything been said about like if it's coming west, because
Yeah.
translation costs a lot of money.
Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons I'm kind of excited for Dragon Quest Heroes, and it's really a pity that this is what has to happen. But basically, the chances of more Dragon Quest games coming to the West sort of rely a little bit on Dragon Quest Heroes doing well.
Yeah,
And I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway because I love me some Dragon Quest, and I mean the Hyrule Warriors port for 3DS isn't out yet, so And
When
I
did you
say
become
that
such a big Dynasty Warriors fan, or at least a fan of that type of gameplay?
I've never actually played a Dynasty Warriors game, but I've played games that were similar to it that had the same sort of.
99 Nights.
I played 99 Nights. I also played a bit of Drakengard.
Oh yeah, the PS2.
Yeah, which is another game that I've been really meaning to get back to. It's there's I have a long list and a very large collection, like Persona 3, God Hand, all this stuff that I either should play like very soon or just started playing and then never got back to.
PS2, man, one of the
Yeah.
greatest libraries ever.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now and I've got Okami that I still haven't finished. I've got Killer 7 in there. I've got Beyond Good and Evil, Psyops. And yet when I play PS2, I usually end up playing Budokai 3.
Yeah, it's always this like I have this great list of many games that I want to get through and play, and then I'm just like, yeah, I'll just go play FIFA.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or just sometimes you just want to stick to the simple stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, but like I've been looking at what's coming out to sort of this week because it's October sort of the month where I'm not really buying any games, especially now that I've bought the PS3, where I'm just gonna that's a big investment, and now I'm just gonna like gonna lay it off a bit with other stuff, and then see what else comes out. But there's some cool stuff coming, and definitely some tempting stuff. And I'm just looking at like the North American release dates. Obviously, they're a bit different here. Like Rock Band 4 is coming out tomorrow.
Oh
The
yeah,
return,
reviews for that are already up.
yeah, the return of the plastic instruments.
I do not have space for any of those.
Neither do I. I live in a small student apartment. I do not want any room for more plastic shit. And it's like I only have like a Guitar Hero World Tour guitar, but it's but I don't know. I never got big enough into Guitar Hero or Rock Band or to really play those games to really get invested. Because I love them as party games, but mostly like when I go to a party and they happen to have it.
Yeah.
For the rest out, Chibi Robo, the Ziplash, the new 3DS game starring the cutest robot of them all.
Is he cuter than Wally? Is he really?
Uh, there's a you can compare them. You can fight over it. Is he cuter than BB-8 though? Hmm. Again, like Chibi Robo is such a weird franchise in that sense that like Chibi Robo got a very limited release in Europe, I believe, like the original Chibi Robo. So it's
The
hard to find.
the
It's hard to
GameCube
find
one?
the GameCube one. It's hard to
Yeah.
find and rare, and therefore expensive.
Yeah.
And then after that, there were a bunch of Chibi Robo games on the DS that never came west. And
Awesome.
then yeah, and then later we got on the eShop Chibi Robo Photo Finder, which was about scanning in certain objects and then sort of like very AR kind of stuff. And it was all very weirdly Japanese. And this time he gets his like a real, well, not like eShop games are real, but a real like a big like a box game and everything once again, like getting a
Nice.
second shot at that. But yeah, it's one of those games where you just wait for pre-orders to see if it's any reviews if it's any good. It does come with a cute little amiibo, which is always fun.
Mm,
I know you're not a fan of the whole amiibo thing.
no, because all the ones I like are way too expensive.
It's gotten a lot better recently, actually. So that's good because I like characters like Villager and Shulk are no longer the unicorns they once were. You can actually just go online and buy them for retail price. I know it's crazy, but yeah, the Chibi. I have no doubt that the Chibi Robo Amiibo is probably going to sell better than the actual game. I just feel that is gonna happen. As sad as it is. Then we have Transformers Devastation, which is for all you '80s Transformers fans out there. Like, it looks amazing, and it's Platinum doing it, so that's always cool. But I don't know, the game isn't really doing it for me, despite looking pretty darn incredible and pretty much like the '80s cartoon come to life. Not a Transformers fan?
Well, I'm just sort of checking some listings and for the amiibos that you were talking about. I have a Robin amiibo here for 49.95.
Checking Bull.com.
Yes.
Oh, they're always bullshit with amiibo prices. Don't look at them. Because
I
then
mean,
you also
even
find like a Yarn Yoshi amiibo for €90. It's crazy.
no,
But
actually, the most expensive one is like 63.99.
still bullshit, but you know.
Yeah,
But
amiibos,
yeah,
am I
with
right?
Transformers Devastation, that looks cool if you're a fan of like the '80s cartoon. But I wasn't a sperm yet when that was made.
And if you are a fan of the 80s cartoon, I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear that there are four more Transformers movies coming out.
Oh yeah, not necessarily all about Michael Bay, but you know the tone has been set after four movies.
The legacy will live on.
Yeah, it's you kind of there's no real surprise there, especially with how like the last movie made $1 billion. You can't really
Jesus.
yeah, and most of that came from China. And the movie, like if you look the movie up on like YouTube and you just sort of look at all the clips, it's the biggest whore for China and all kinds of other products. Like the end is set in Hong Kong for almost no reason, just because they got to get that China money.
It is a growing market.
Oh yeah, it's an absolutely huge market. We thought it was going to save Terminator, but nope. And I'm glad it didn't, because Genesis can go suck a dick. Such an awful movie. But anyway, other games that are out. The Nathan Drake collection. So,
Yeah.
so if
I,
you've never ever played Do you enjoy games like myself, because just own a PS3, it's a good way to sort of go through those games that are considered for many to be the definitive PS3 games out there.
yeah, I really want to get the Nathan Drake collection, and I can't really afford to get it this month because I also have to renew my PS Plus subscription on top of Dragon Quest Heroes, and that's not cheap. But I'm a bit apprehensive because I played the demo, and I think that one's from the demo bit is from Uncharted 2.
Maybe I don't. I haven't played the demo, so I don't know.
Um, and admittedly, the demo did get me like pretty pumped because I did enjoy playing it. But apparently, they did a really good job with the remaster. It's just the game itself hasn't aged all that well, especially the first one.
Yeah, the first one I've heard from people like Kind of Funny who are really into PlayStation, sort of like, oh, good God, Uncharted 1 is very different from 2 and 3. And
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Video Gamer UK review of it.
I haven't.
It's well, first of all, it's really funny,
Yeah.
and there
Their stuff generally is.
and the angry reactions to it even more so. It was straight out of the hate out of 10 situation, where
Stuff
people were
like
like, "Why did you give it a bad score?" And he's just like, "I gave it a 7." You
I am
know?
so happy that review scores no longer affect me as much as they used to, especially like when you're a teen and suddenly like giving something a 7 or 8 is considered the end of the world.
Yeah. And it especially was really funny when Uncharted 3 came out. I still remember this that people were giving it like 9s and 8s like a week before its release, and people are already getting mad salty about it. Just like, how can it possibly only have an 8? And it's just like, you haven't played it yet. You can't possibly have
Wait,
played it yet.
wait, which game was that?
Uncharted 3.
Oh yeah, that is the hate out of 10 situation is always
Yeah. I highly recommend that you watch the Video Gamer 7 Reasons Why on Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection. It is seriously some of this. It was the funniest thing I saw that week. Oh my god. I don't want to get into it too much because just go and watch it. But wow,
Okay, like, I've been in and out with Video Gamer. I don't know. I should check their stuff. The last thing I saw was their interview with Charles Martinet.
oh yeah, the Miller Report.
Yeah,
The Miller Report has like an ongoing story, and it's surprisingly like really fun.
I haven't really.
Jim Sterling was in the most recent episode of the Miller Report.
Was he?
Yeah,
I not surprised because he's been a fan of it for like he's been pushing them a lot.
yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome to hear.
The
And then
episode is straight up just called Metal Gear Sterling.
I am hoping to get the Uncharted collection at some point, but not right now.
Yeah,
The-
maybe when it goes down in price a bit.
And yeah, exactly. And it probably will fairly soon, or at least depends on like how sales are. And it comes with an Uncharted 4 beta, so maybe that'll.
And it'll probably be sold as like a bundle with Uncharted 4 when that comes out.
Oh yeah. Then of course there's Dragon Quest Heroes, and I just love the additional title. It's Dragon Quest Heroes, the World's Tree Woe, and the Blight Below.
Yep,
That's a long ass title.
it is indeed.
What does it even mean?
You'll find out by playing the game.
Okay.
Hopefully, at least. Be kind of
Apparently
awkward if it didn't explain that.
yeah. Apparently there's a sequel announced as well in the Japans, which
Ooh.
will be which will be coming to Vita,
Oh.
which means that no, not just Vita, but also
Oh.
PS4 and PS3. But you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of sequels in Japanese games, I'm a little peeved that we still don't have a definitive release date on this yet. But supposedly, the new Earth Defense Force is coming to PS4 by the end of this year, and Earth Defense Force, I played the PC one like this year and got like super into it. So now I'm like really excited for the new one to come to PS4 because that
Yeah.
it's been out like it's definitely coming to the West and it's been out in Japan since like March or something. And it's a pretty small and relatively like not super popular franchise, but it's got a decently dedicated fan base, myself included. And
Yeah.
just I really want it.
Someday. Someday.
Someday soon, hopefully.
Yeah. And then the weirdest game, or at least like probably the most popular game of them all of this list is Minecraft Story Mode.
Oh my god.
I am still baffled that that exists.
I'm so confused. I don't know why. Like, okay, I get it. Like, Minecraft is still popular,
Oh yeah, Minecraft is huge.
which is already baffling enough because I stopped playing it honestly like before it even went into full release. Like, I started and stopped playing it while it was still in beta.
I
Um,
still see Minecraft toys everywhere, or shirts and all that,
yeah,
like worn by little kids.
it's a fantastic game for younger people. Like, I don't want to say I've outgrown it, but I kind of have a little bit. And I mean, like, I might have burned myself out on it too much, and I don't really like survival mechanics, so the survival update really soured me on it. But Minecraft Story Mode, the game barely had a story to begin with, and so I'm guessing they wrote a new one. I'll admit I barely know anything about it. I know it
There
has,
is
like,
Minecraft lore, I know that much, but
of course there friggin' is.
yeah, there's Minecraft children's books that you just like there are Skylanders children's books that you can buy.
Oh, good.
But yeah, there's it's an interesting thing. What I think is the best thing about Minecraft Story Mode existing is that it's an adventure game for kids, and like, obviously Minecraft is sort of that game that is for everyone, sort of, but mostly for children. At least that seems to be the that's that's a very Animal Farm type of answer. I just realized. Like it's for everyone, but mostly for kids.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just. Do you remember Starbomb?
Oh yeah, Minecraft's for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good for them. Like they'll probably play the heck out of it, and then maybe that'll lead them to many other Telltale games, like the Back to the Future game that is being re-released because October is pretty much, besides the scary movie month, it's Back to the Future month.
Oh yeah.
My cinema is actually like on October 23rd. Is like that's the date when Marty McFly is in 2015. That's when there's a Back to the Future marathon.
Yeah, that's happening here too.
That's really cool, and I really want to check that out because I really like the Back to the Future series. And of course, it's always and it's cool to see the game being the game is very underrated, in my opinion. I don't know if you've played it.
No, but I saw a Let's Play of I think the first episode, and it looked really cool. Like I never really got into Telltale games. I don't think they're bad by any stretch of the imagination. Like they're friggin' great. I mean, let's be honest. The Walking Dead, seriously, just oh my god. But I don't know. I'm never really in the mood to play them. Like I'm never, and I'm kind of annoyed that because I really want to play The Wolf Among Us, especially.
Oh, The Wolf Among Us is so good.
Yeah, it's honestly the Telltale game that is most appealing to me. But I don't know. I could never bring myself to actually play one.
Go at least try Wolf Among Us. Wolf Among Us is incredible.
Yeah. Like I know everyone loves it. I know everyone loves them, and I know it's for a very good reason, you know. And I mean, like I know a lot of people really like the Game of Thrones one, and Tales from the Borderlands is very good. I'm hearing.
I don't hear a lot about Game of Thrones.
Really?
No, it's weird because you'd think that is such a no-brainer, Telltale and Game of Thrones. But I don't hear a lot of people talk about the game, at least not in the same way that people talk about Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, or even Tales of the Borderlands. And I don't know, maybe I've just not been paying enough attention to it. I've only played the first episode of it because I got that free on my iPhone. But for the
I'll
rest,
I'll
what's
tell you
that?
what I really want to play though. Related to that, I really want to play Life is Strange.
Oh yeah, I've got the. Did you play the demo on PS4 or?
No,
There's a demo of it, so you can check it out there. But
like I know enough about it to know that it's definitely something I would be interested in, and it's got a very interesting fandom. Um, and it just looks like I liked Remember Me a lot more than most people, I think.
oh, for because it's the same studio.
Yeah. And so it sort of goes back to what we were talking about before, with the Stanley Parable. But I liked Remember Me a lot. It wasn't perfect. God no, God knows it wasn't perfect. But I enjoyed it a lot, and it had some really cool ideas.
Yeah.
Um, and I can definitely the art style in Life is Strange is gorgeous. B, I can appreciate its earnesty. Like a lot of people sort of criticize it for having like really awkward and goofy writing.
Hella yeah.
Okay, I will fight you. I actually say hella in real life.
I have a
Uh,
cousin named Hella, so I don't tend to do that.
but it's just. I mean, earnest is really the best way to describe what I think about it because it really just feels like they were trying their best to make something really cool, and because I don't know, I feel like they sort of had a very limited budget for this game,
Yeah,
especially
that's.
because Remember Me did not do very well.
Oh no, it did terrible. I believe
Yeah, I remember we were writing about that in the previews, and I was kind of like,
you were that game's defender. Like
yeah,
I was sort of that in that stage of like, yeah, it looks cool, but I'm not really sure if it looks good.
I was
So you
very
were like,
hopeful
oh no,
for
does
it.
it? I've been looking at that game like a hog. It's gonna be great and awesome, and then stuff
Yeah,
happens.
I've been known to be wrong about those things before, you know. Like I remember when we were doing the when we were talking about the post first look previews back when the new consoles were coming out. And I was just like, yeah, Knack is going to be amazing. Yeah.
It was very very cool.
Yeah. Like I
What
remember
they
that was like one of like I think that was like my game of the my at least my AAA game of the show. Like and looking back on it now, I'm just like, why would you say that, you idiot?
It was super impressive. Let's not, especially like you were just like it was an impression on the console itself, sort of like Knack did a lot to sort of show off like the console, but
Yeah. But I mean, like right next door, like right next to us, people were playing Assassin's Creed 4. You know?
yeah. Well, we didn't get to play that really. We had to leave
Yeah.
before that. I'm so annoyed that I'm not going to first look this weekend. I'm way too busy with
Yeah, me
stuff.
too.
So then, because I'm hearing like PlayStation VR is going to be there, and I want to try that. Rise of the Tomb Raider is there. Xenoblade X is there, which is I'm not sure if Fallout 4 is, but those like Xenoblade and Fallout, which are the two games I'm the most excited for, probably aren't the best type of games to play on a trade show.
No. And
And then
I love the indie booth. I mean, that's for
yeah,
me.
they've really expanded it apparently.
Yeah, last year was like huge as well. But
They've expanded the whole sort of the convention to be like they've added a whole esports section. They've let's see like they added more stuff with cosplay and all that stuff, more geek pretty much.
yeah, I know
And
MediaMarkt is coming like in a big way this year.
yeah, like you can pay for you can get three games and pay only for two,
Hmm.
like sort of stuff like that.
Here's hoping I can still go to Dutch Comic Con this coming year.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a bit disappointed that I can't go this year because it's always fun to go there. It's always been a good time, even if it's incredibly busy. I stand a lot, and it's let's see what I'm sort of going through. Oh yeah, Street Fighter Five is there. Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah.
Just Dance is there. Oh, it's always there's always like a big Just Dance booth.
Are they
The
still making
Division.
those?
Yeah, they're big.
Are
They
they?
make money. They're big among casual gamers. You can't really recreate that stuff on an iPhone.
Yeah, like but they require like the connected stuff, right?
I don't know. Well,
Or
I
like
don't know what they
motion
do with
controls of some
PS4
kind.
and Xbox One, but with the Wii U versions, where they're still the most popular, they use the Wiimote.
Oh, okay.
The Division is there. Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, which got a lot of flack for being multiplayer only. And what do you think of that kind of trend of like the multiplayer only game?
I mean, it definitely puts me off buying it, but that's just because I don't like competitive multiplayer games. But I mean, it does basically say that you're not doing like the Battlefield 3 thing. Because what Battlefield 3 did was its multiplayer and its single player were just so different uh, that actually playing the single player before the multiplayer made you less prepared for the multiplayer, you know? Like the single player in Battlefield 3 was very sort of Call of Duty, let's be honest. It was Call of Duty. It
Yeah,
was run and gun empowerment fantasy. Whereas the multiplayer, like you die a lot quicker. It's a lot more tactical. A lot of more team-based strategy is required. And this way, it's you have a better chance that it's just a really good multiplayer experience. You know, and
yeah,
and so like they're not diverting funds to make an obligatory tacked on single player, and they're just focusing on the multiplayer. And like Titanfall sort of did that. I mean, they had a single player mode, but it was basically just the multiplayer mode with bots. Um, what else? Battlefront is doing that, and apparently Rainbow Six Siege is doing that as well.
yeah.
I mean, it's
It just makes me wonder where a game stands in 5 to 10 years when the servers are down and just like okay, is this still playable in any way, or
I think by that point, especially the way the industry works nowadays, they'll probably just have made a new iteration of the franchise. So,
I guess, but still, it's sort of. Anyway, I think that is. Let's see. Do you want to discuss anything more, or because we have gone on for a while now?
I mean, I'm always up for talking about the comic books I've been reading, but that's not really video games.
It doesn't necessarily have to be video games, but I feel this is a good time to sort of end the show. Like, this is something that I've been wanting to get off the ground for years with G1 Features, which has again like a lot of cool stuff coming. We recently posted Viju Batsu playing Mario Paint, the like Nat attack, which is like swatting flies.
Nice.
Yes, with a very shocking type of punishments. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. But go check it out if you're interested in that. Let's see. We Did you want interviews is coming very very soon. We're sort of locking in a date yet. We're still working on the G1 Best Ever reboot, which is hopefully coming soon as well. I need to talk. I need to send some mails for that in order to and it's more the ball is in my court, but I've just been very swamped with school work that it kind of just goes in the background.
You hear
And
that a
then
lot with these things.
yeah, and then there's the good old Scroovies, which is episode 41 coming pretty soon.
Yeah,
Where with
man. Scroovies is great stuff. I
aw,
dig it.
thank you. Did you see? Did you read the 40th anniversary one, episode 40?
I did not, because what happens with Scroovies is I sort of I don't read it regularly, but then I do remember to read it, and then I read like all the ones I've missed.
Ah, yeah, sort of say, okay, this is what I missed, this is what I missed, and then like the all the movies coming. I really want to see The Martian. That's out in cinemas now, and then there's Sicario coming really soon.
Even my parents knew about The Martian.
Oh yeah, Martian is huge, which is it's always good to hear a good Ridley Scott movie exists.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were wrapping up. Yeah, so yeah, a bunch of cool stuff coming on G1 Features, and for the rest, yeah, you can always follow me on the Mad Hero on Twitter, and always appreciate if you follow G1 Features and see the stuff that we're gonna do. And Gear, you're not as active on Screw Attack as you used to be, but where can people find you?
Twitter mostly. I'm on Twitter pretty much all day. It's I tell terrible jokes and talk about things, a lot of things.
Okay, and where can I find you on Twitter?
At Gear 12 Turbo.
Okay, well then, I guess this is where we wrap up, and everyone have a good day, have a good time, and hopefully see you at more G1 Features. Bye.
Bye.